All right. Hello and welcome to this complimentary presentation. We're going to be talking about how to automate your business using different apps, using the Lifter LMS Zapier app and other applications, which there's literally thousands of, over 6 or 7 thousand that you can gain access to through Zapier. So Lifter LMS just released a new Zapier app on Zapier.com. We'll throw the link to that in the chat. But basically, we're going to go over what it is, how it works, how you can benefit from it. I'm going to do some live Zapier app building for you today. I'm also going to show you how we use Zapier in our business to automate tasks and make things run a lot more efficiently. And we have a bunch of resources. This is going to be an interactive session. So feel free to ask questions as we go. We'll kind of save the Q&A till the end. I might take a few as I go, but I kind of want to get through the whole thing as we go, but just start loading up the chat or the comments wherever you're watching this so that we can address your questions and show you all the cool things about Lifter LMS and Zapier. So just to jump into it, I'm going to share my screen with you and talk about what Zapier is. So if you go to Zapier.com and you click on product, you can see all the integrations. Like there's 6,000 apps that you can integrate with. Now, Lifter LMS, even though it's on your WordPress site, is an app. It's a web application that you can interact with. Very few WordPress-based solutions have a Zapier app. This is one of the things that makes Lifter LMS one of the leading learning management systems, and also just our strong focus on making Lifter extendable and customizable and affordable, because the Lifter LMS Zapier app does not cost you any more money. It's a resource that you can use from Lifter LMS, whether you're using the free plugin or using one of our bundles or individual add-ons. You can start using Lifter LMS Zapier today. You can see here a lot of what Zapier does, they actually give you for free. They have a free account. Some of their features are premium and does require a paid plan on Zapier, but it's very worth it. We've been using Zapier in our business for many, many years. And I just want to encourage you, let us know in the chat, what would you like to automate with Zapier? Like, for example, if somebody does something in Lifter LMS, do you want something to happen in your project management tool? If you're selling with another e-commerce solution like ThriveCart or ClickFunnels or Square or another e-commerce solution, do you want to automate the enrollment on your Lifter LMS powered website in a course or membership? There's literally 7,000 apps you can explore, even AI like ChatGPT. How would you like to use that and interact with Lifter LMS? Zoom, even StreamYard, which you're in right now, is has a Zapier connection as well. So if we're actually using Zapier right now, which I'll show you a little later, if you registered for this training, you actually went through a Zapier, and I'll show you what we did with that in a minute. So that's what Zapier is. And I want to show you the Lifter LMS Zapier documentation. It's really extensive. That we'll put a link to that wherever you're watching this. But this goes through a lot of the things I'm going to talk about and show you today in extreme detail. So check that out. And also, I want to just plant the seeds around how to think about Zapier. So Zapier is all about triggers and actions. So as you do something in Zapier or in another app, like if something happens in Lifter LMS, what do you want to happen in another app, like on your Google Calendar and Google Sheets, Gmail, MailChimp, Google Drive, YouTube, You want to schedule a call with Calendly? Excuse me. Do you want to automate building your enrollments in Lifter into MailChimp, HubSpot, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, all these things? There's just like an endless sea of what you can do with Lifter LMS and Zapier. But let's first start looking at the basics. So let's talk about triggers in the Lifter LMS Zapier app. So if something happens in Lifter, this is a trigger, and we're going to have an action happen later. So these are the triggers you can use, which is new student, new course enrollment, course access is canceled, course access expired, new membership enrollment, membership access canceled, membership access expired. And within these, there's a lot of options within each trigger and things that you can hook into and tie into. You can even create automation between Lifter LMS sites, but in your one site. So for example, when somebody enrolls in a specific course, do you want to automatically enroll them in a second course or another membership, or put a wait timer in there and like wait 3 days and then enroll them in another course? This is how to start thinking about automations. And if we look at actions, so the actions that are available in the Lifter LMS Zapier app is we can create a WordPress user, we can retrieve a WordPress user, we can search a WordPress user by username, we can enroll in a course, expire course access, cancel course access, enroll a membership, expire membership access, and cancel membership access. Now, there's a lot of automations that you can do with these available triggers and actions within Lifter LMS. But if you think about all these other apps you're using, they also have triggers and actions. So Calendly, for example, you could have where somebody schedules a meeting with you, um, then something could happen in Lifter LMS. They could enroll in a course. They could become a student on your website, not yet enrolled in the course. As Zapier says here, there are literally endless possibilities of what you can do. So let's look at a little more detail at the categories here. So Zapier can become a little overwhelming just because there's so much potential. So I wouldn't necessarily create zaps or automations just for the sake of creating them. Start with the category of what you're trying to do. So for example, if you want to do something with artificial intelligence like ChatGPT, what like think about that first, and then what do you want to have happen in Lifter LMS? Or if something happens in Lifter LMS, what do you want the artificial intelligence to do? We talked about commerce. This is a popular Zapier use case where, let's say somebody purchases a product in a Shopify store, which has nothing to do with WordPress, but then it automatically creates a user and enrolls them in the course or membership on your Lifter LMS website, completely automated. That's a strong use case for e-commerce. Communication. So if you want your personal Gmail to send an email when somebody completes a course or enrolls in a course, and have it come from your personal Gmail, you can do that. All kinds of other communications like text messaging and video conferencing like Zoom, Big Marker, GoToWebinar. There's lots of automations you can do. Content and files is huge. So for example, if you add somebody to a spreadsheet in Google Sheets and you would like them to then basically be imported automatically into your Lifter LMS site and enrolled in a particular course or membership, you can do that. Human resources is a thing. Internet of Things. I mean, this gets kind of out there, but if you've ever thought about every time you make a sale, you want your Alexa device in your house to like say something out loud or whatever. There's all kinds of things you could do. You could have a buzzer go off in your office. That's just the Internet of Things is basically, goes over from from digital to physical things in your life, like lights turning on and things like that. There's all kinds of marketing stuff you can do in terms of integrating with um, email marketing and CRM and marketing automation systems like Salesforce, Keep, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, MailChimp, MailerLite, all of these things. Um, Webinar integration. So, right, like for example, right now, this is a webinar in StreamYard, and we have a Zapier app that actually um, adds you on over to our ActiveCampaign if you're not already there. And also, you can do things like interest tagging, like, hey, these people are interested in Zapier and creating automation. Productivity is a huge place for course creators and coaches. You could get into things like, um, if you use a project management tool like Trello or Asana or ClickUp or Monday.com, when something happens, like a new student enrolls in a course, a card is created on your project management software for your assistant or your team or yourself to do an onboarding sequence. You can keep things organized with Notion and track things in Google Sheets. There's really a lot you can do around productivity, sales, and CRM. There's lots you can do to, do more project management. If you actually do have like a sales pipeline and you're looking to do tracking and kind of integrate with a third party sales enablement tool, you can do that, as well as scheduling and booking, um, like Calendly, Acuity scheduling, and so on. Like if you have a free course lead magnet and you want, or a low price course and you want to then create a lead or schedule a meeting or invite to a meeting, there's all kinds of stuff you can do there. Support is also huge. So if you're using something like Help Scout, like we use at Lifter LMS, or Zendesk, or Intercom, or any of these popular help support apps, you can make that happen. Bonjoro is a really fun one. So Bonjoro basically sends personalized welcome videos to people when they buy products. So you can essentially create an automated um, welcome sequence where people get a personalized video communication from you as soon as they purchase, which then helps increase with onboarding and activation into your tool and help people get started with their courses and memberships. So, website and app building, um, there's a ton you can do here. WordPress itself is in here. So, if you want something to happen in WordPress or Gravity Forms, and connect automation between Lifter and WordPress, like the easy example would be when I add a new user to my WordPress website, just a regular user, turn them into a student and enroll them into this course as an example. So then it's just a matter of getting your new users into WordPress, which you can actually automate again with a course importer from a Google Sheet, which is something else you can do in terms of creating multi-step zaps. It doesn't have to be one trigger and one action. You could have one trigger and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 other actions that string together to create an incredible amount of automation. So ask your questions in the side. I'd like to hear what you would like to do with Zapier. I'd also like to hear what apps you want to integrate with. Like, do you want to do something in social media when something happens on the Lifter site, or what do you want to do with Google Sheets and automate with your Lifter LMS powered websites? So we've also done some of the thinking for you in terms of like, well, as you're in the brainstorming phase and you're trying to figure out what's possible, there's something called Zapier templates. So these are some examples that we've already created, and we're creating more over time. There's about 60 more we're getting ready to add. So, and you can see here like multi-step zaps that happen. Um, this one uh, updates active campaign with certain information when certain things happen in Lifter LMS. So, yeah, when a student enrolls in the course on your Lifter LMS powered website, that's the trigger. And then two actions happen. We retrieve the WordPress user's information, and then we create a new contact or update a contact in Active Campaign. And if you're signed up for Zapier, all you have to do is just click this button and you can start using this template today. Customize it. You have to authorize your connection, which I'll show you in a second, to your Lifter LMS site and to your Active Campaign site as an example. And there's the templates are also on the Lifter LMS Zapier documentation. So let me show you where that is here. So start with a Zap template. So you can see here, we've even got this embedded. Some of the ones delivered or that are possible are right here. You can also actually start searching in here and see if we have a template already created that you can use, and that'll filter and start looking through what's possible. And then it's going to take you over to Zapier to actually build it with your Zapier. So let's look at actually building a Zapier or an automation. So this is a simple one here. This one is when somebody enrolls in this course, enroll them in that course. And you can see here, this is actually a live Zap. You can see that it's on, that we use on the Lifter LMS Academy. And this one's locked because it's published in live, so I'm not going to edit it. I will show you how to create one from scratch in a little bit. But basically, what this does is a user comes in, enrolls in this course. Courses have an ID, so that's what Zapier's finding. It's like the course with this ID, which I'll show you how to find in a second. Also enroll the user in that course. So to show you the strategy behind that, if we go to the Lifter LMS Academy and we look at our courses here, what this Zapier actually does, you know, Lifter has a lot of automation options built into it, but we don't have the like an automation where you can, if they enroll in this course, then enroll them in that course. So let me look at it on the course catalog here. So basically, if you look at our 3 top courses here, this follows a customer journey where the first thing they do is they figure out their course topic and build their syllabus here in the course plan challenge. And then the next thing they are going to need to do is figure out how to use Lifter LMS. So then they can enroll in this course. And then after they build their site and figure out how to use Lifter LMS from the Quick Start course, we have another free resource course to help people learn how to get their first 10 paying clients. So the strategy behind that Zapier that we were just looking at right here is, and I'll add the third one, but you know, if somebody enrolls in this course, let's go ahead and put this course on their dashboard and then this course on their dashboard. And if I were to improve this Zapier, I might wait. I can put a wait in between these and have it wait like a week between that so they don't get overwhelmed or get too far ahead of themselves. So that's an example of a Lifter LMS to Lifter LMS Zapier. Now let's look at a Zapier where we are um, going from something happening in Lifter LMS to an external app. So if you work in technology, you probably use a tool called Slack. So one of the things we do here is when a new student enrolls in the Lifter LMS Academy we were just looking at over here, internally in our Slack that we use to run our business and communicate, it's kind of our own little social network for the company and tool for communication. We send a message to Slack that gives a bunch of detail about, hey, this person just enrolled in the academy. And it's for us, that particular strategy is more of a just bird's eye view to see what courses people are interested in on a day-to-day basis. Uh, who's kind of new to our community. Um, if we've just been having a pre-sales conversation, we can see that, oh, this person's interested. They're now taking this course on the academy. So that's an example of Lifter LMS to an external app. Another one to show you is an external app to Lifter LMS. So this is sort of a course importer from a Google Sheet. So when a new user or a spreadsheet row in a Google Sheet gets certain user information, we then enroll that user in a course or a membership on a Lifter LMS powered website. So we've basically built a student importer enrollment automator with this simple Zap, which is particularly helpful if you want to add a lot of users or you're moving between a system to Lifter LMS because you want more power, customizability, and affordability. And you need an easy way to import a bunch of people and organize them and assign them to certain courses and such. So that's an example of going from an external app, creating automation to Lifter LMS. And you can start thinking here about how this could be a multi-step app. Like maybe you're using a sales pipeline tool like Zoho. And when a person gets to a certain stage in the pipeline, you want to add them to this Google Sheet. So then you have a record there. And then you want an enrollment to happen in Lifter LMS. And you can see how you can keep going and basically integrate all the tools you're using and create automation to save you time and money. And I just wanted to show you as well. Let's look at another external app to Lifter LMS. This is the one that you're in right now. So if you registered for this free training on StreamYard, your information was passed to ActiveCampaign, which is what we use for our CRM. And if you weren't already on a email list of somebody who's interested in what we're doing, you are now. And we know that you're interested in Zapier, and that all happens through automation. And just another one that comes in handy. This was the first thing that brought me to Zapier, is for accounting purposes. So this doesn't have to do with Lifter LMS, but I want to show you how Zapier, the first Zapier that we built for our business, is for accounting. So when your business gets a certain size and you're using a tool like QuickBooks and you have an accountant or a bookkeeper or somebody who's doing your taxes, they need to be able to see all your order information, and an accountant likes to use tools like QuickBooks. And basically what this does is it shows them how to, it gets all the relevant information that an accountant would need into the QuickBooks online software. It happens automatically. We set this Zapier up many years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago. You can see it says legacy here. We're still using an old Stripe app. They must have a new Stripe app that's even better, but it still works. So we haven't had to update it. You can do the same thing with PayPal as an example, and basically eliminate what would be days and days of busy work, manually adding information to QuickBooks for your accountant. So that's a popular request of how do I get my Lifter LMS order history and kind of banking activity into my accounting software. Well, this is how you do that. So let me pause there and bring you up, Will. Is there any questions before I switch into actually building that we want to hit right now or save to the end?
We do have 4 questions that came in. A few of them have kind of been answered, but if you could rerun through it. Joanne asks, is it possible to have the same user with Shopify, so only one user account for my services? So I guess buying in Shopify and transferring to WordPress?
Yeah. So in this case, because let's actually look at that live. So let me go and create an example here. All right, so I'm going to create a Zapier, a new Zap. The individual Zapier Zap is called a Zap. And this actually goes into the next piece I was going to show, which is how to use Zapier. Sounds easy, but it's actually not that easy in the sense that you got to get into a little bit of the details and find things like course IDs and make sure your API keys are set up and authorized, all that stuff, which I'm going to show you in a second. But what I really love, this is a new feature that came out this year, is that you can take that general idea and let the artificial intelligence try to build the Zapier for you. So let me answer your question by showing you Shopify to Lifter LMS. So Shopify order to Lifter LMS course enrollment. And let's see what happens. It looks like it didn't quite pick it up right, so I'm going to build it from scratch. But I'll show you one that does work in a little bit here. So if we do Shopify, you just look for the app that you want to get your trigger from. And then when somebody, let's see which trigger we want to use here. A new order. So when a new order is created in Shopify, what we want to do, we want to then look for the Lifter LMS app. The first thing we want to do is create a WordPress user if none is found. So we want to do that first. This is actually a multi-step app because in WordPress, we need a user before we can enroll them in something. And then what we want to do is we want to add a second action to enroll in a course. And as you go through this, there is, first you have to connect your account, which I'll show you in a little bit. But at a high level, this is what you're trying to do. Because of this, the way this works, this is the Shopify app, and this is the Lifter LMS web application on your website. There's not an easy way to have a single login. Although this is the internet, so anything custom can be developed. But by default, if we create this automation, the user is going to have an account history and profile on your Shopify, and then they will have a different account on your WordPress site. These are each going to have different logins because there's different applications. And but you could create this automation. Now there is a concept called single sign-on, which gives, or SSO, which gives people like a kind of a master login for everything, but that gets into custom development and stuff like that. And for the most part, people are fully capable of managing accounts on different things. So my recommendation is if you are selling with Shopify, to just be okay with having them having an account on your store and then having an account on your school, and that's kind of how that works.
Cool. And then this was a question from the same person. Joanne, I have a course that always starts on Thursdays. Can I make an automation? The same course takes new users and they start from week 1 onwards. I do not want to create Thursday starts manually.
I gotcha. This is a kind of a nuanced question. Lifter LMS actually has a feature called course cohorts that you could, with a couple clicks, even though it's manual, you can create a new cohort that launches every week on Thursday. So that's an option with that. So for this one, I would probably keep it just in Lifter LMS and not Zapier, and just either use cohorts, Lifter LMS cohorts. We can put a link to that in the chat, and also just use the same course over and over again, and then just update the enrollment time period on the course, so that there's kind of a window to enroll the week before, and then a new batch comes in. And we have other content on course time periods and course enrollment periods that you could check out if you do a search on our site. I don't want to go too far off Zapier for that, but that's some quick highlights on that one.
Cool. And could you do a private Facebook group, adding someone there when they enroll in Lifter?
Let's look. So Zapier, some apps have limitations. So let me see what's possible with Facebook here. So we'll just look at the action, and we want to look at Facebook, of what Facebook has made available to Zapier. Now, unfortunately, I'm not seeing Facebook groups on here. And that's probably something that Facebook or the Meta organization has decided to not allow Zapier to mess with. So the answer to that is there's not like a direct zap here, but if you think about it, there's probably like some privacy issues there where Facebook doesn't want to give you the ability to look up through software all of their users and be able to like move them around. It's just like a decision that Facebook has made. And I won't get into why the business model of why they're doing that, but I kind of get it. In this case, I would probably just use Lifter LMS directly to send an engagement email when they first joined, inviting them to the Facebook group with the link, and then let the user make their own decision to join the group. And if you say they have to join the group to like do the program, then you say that, and then they most likely will follow the instructions of the instructor. So that's probably what I do there.
Cool. And we just had 2 more questions. I have courses with webinars via Zoom. I need to send reminders by email the day before the webinar. I have an email set up in Lifter LMS when they register for the course. So reminder email before a webinar.
Yeah, let's look at that. I'm actually a Power Zoom user, so I know that Zoom out of the box has webinar reminder emails that you can modify and schedule, and they're not necessarily all on by default. So luckily for you, all those features are already built into Zoom. But let's look at Zapier Zoom just to dig in a little bit and see what's possible there. And this is really good advice in the sense that you should never build a Zap when the tool you already have does or mostly does what you want to do. So like don't add complexity if you don't need to. And this one in particular, there's already features in Zoom you may not know about. But let's look at the Zoom webinar. Let me so let's see here, Zoom. So we have a new meeting trigger, a new meeting registrant, a new recording is completed, or a new webinar registrant, which is what you're asking about. So then what you're wanting to do in that case is I'll just use Gmail. I'd have to actually connect this to my Zoom account before I can get into the nitty-gritty of what's possible with the app. So for example, let me show you what I mean. Like if Lifter LMS were involved here, and because I actually have authorized it to dig into my website here, I can now like get into, I can start bringing data between the apps based on user ID in this case. I know that might be a little bit confusing, but you kind of got to connect things before you can start like actually getting into the nitty gritty details of that automation. But what I would imagine happens here, once you were to connect your Zoom account, it's going to give you access to certain things like event date, registration, registrant first name, registrant last name, registrant email. Then you can then take that data, plug it into Gmail, and you can put like delays in here. And you know, you see how you start getting the nitty gritty. You have options here on delay for amount of time or until this date or time that you choose, and you really can start fine tuning it. So if you're not 100% happy with Zoom's automated reminder system, you could build your own in here, but you'd need to connect your Zoom account and dig into that.
Cool. And the last question before we move on, we've kind of already answered this one, but automating transactions to MS Excel would be a similar process of when something happens in your lifter, connect it to Excel with a
Yeah,
trigger.
the difference with Excel and Google Sheets is Excel is an application on your computer, and Google Sheets is an application in the cloud. So there may be, I mean, I'll look. There might be a cloud version of Excel, but Google Sheets has an export to Excel like in one click. So you could just have it go to a Google Sheet and then download it. I don't want to pull up any of my Google Sheets and show you because I might have personal information on it or whatever, but it's just a feature of an Excel export. So
Yeah,
Hank's saying Excel in the cloud. Let's take a look. Maybe I'll learn something new about Excel today. So, so the question was,
oh, you want to drop an order that happens in Lifter into an Excel.
yeah. So Excel is our action in that case. There we go. Yeah, so you could, when you're going out of an app into Google Sheets or Excel, usually what you're doing is adding a row. But you can get fancier and do other things. So then you would want to, you could add the row, and you would need to, you know, connect your account first and stuff. But then if we look at Lifter LMS in terms of available stuff, I might do like, yeah, new student. See, what I'm doing here is I'm testing my stuff that I'm getting. So all this information about a new student on my site, this is the information that I could build out in a row or in columns on a spreadsheet. So you basically, and then in the action here, you would just have a spreadsheet that you're connected to that then takes the data you want. And if you're not able to get at certain data you want from Lifter LMS, just let us know and we'll consider it for future development in our REST API and ultimately Zapier app.
Cool. Well, that was our first round of questions.
Awesome. So let's talk about this step here, which is in order to connect your app, you have to authorize it. So I'm going to pull up a Lifter LMS site and we're going to look at the API keys real quick here. So this is my Lifter LMS powered website here. This is just a test site. And in order to authorize Zapier to interact with your site, you need to give it your private and your secret keys. So if I go into my dashboard in WordPress, and then I go to Lifter LMS settings, and then I go to REST API, you can see I've set up, you can have multiple API keys that, for different reasons or which I recommend if they're for different integrations. But you can also, use the same one. But the way an API key works is you would give it a name like Zapier to Excel. And then you want to give it read write permissions. And then you want to click save. And then basically this is your consumer key and your secret key. And pay special attention to this alert message. This is all about security. You're only going to be able to see these keys one time. And you don't want to like share these around or anything like that. I'm showing them to you now because this is a test site with no real data on it. But once you, leave this screen, you won't be able to find your secret key again because it's here, but it's a security feature. So that you really only have it once. You can also download them right there. And so I can have a local copy of my keys here if I want to keep in a safe place for my records. So then what happens is if we go over to Zapier, let me back out and build a new Zap. And we're going to start with a trigger in Lifter LMS. It's this Lifter LMS, the latest one, the beta. If you see multiples, this is the one you want. And I want to, let's just say when there's a new course enrollment, and now it's asking me to connect my account. And if you're setting this up for the first time, it'll force you to connect it to an account, but it knows I'm already using this one. And the way this works is connect a new account. And then basically in this window, what you do is you have your keys here. So the consumer key is this. And the secret key is this.
I don't think we're getting is it a pop-up window you've got?
Oh yeah, my keys. Oh yeah, you're not getting it. Let me try to reshare so that you can see what I'm doing. 1 second. I'm just going to share my whole screen with you. All right. Can you see this pop-up window I'm working on now?
Yeah.
And I have my, this was when my website gave me the opportunity to download the keys. This is what I got. So I just put in my consumer key and my secret key. And then this you can leave alone. And then the base URL, it says put it in here without the trailing slash at the end of the URL. So my website is right here. And then, oops. I got to find my pop-up there. So it wants the base URL without the trailing slash, and then I just authorize it like that. So now it's connected. So that's basically how you authorize it. And then when you go through another tool, I don't have Microsoft Excel in the cloud, but if I did, this is the login flow to authorize Zapier to connect with my Excel application in the cloud. So that's how you connect apps. And I want to show you how to find your course IDs. So if my screen share, do you have the Lifter site, Will?
Yep.
So when you're on a Lifter LMS site, there's a couple different places to find your course IDs. So this site has a lot of courses on it. And if we go to the dashboard, and if we look at an individual course, like the Lifter LMS Quick Start course here, and we look in the builder, it's not up there. I do want to show you that you can see right here the lessons. If you ever need a lesson ID, they're here.
You do have the course ID and the URL up there?
Oh yeah, this is coming through.
Yeah.
So this is a good find. Yeah, so every post in WordPress, whether it's a course, a lesson, or whatever, has an ID. So there it is in the URL. Another way that people find it is if they go to a WordPress admin screen like this. If you hover over it, you can see it's very small in the bottom left of my window. There's a little black bar that has the course ID in it. I can see it down there as 4488. And we've actually got some improvements coming to the course builder to make it easier to find your IDs. Do you have any other tips, Will, on how to find a course ID?
I mostly just look at the URL. Like you said, the course builder, the new update to it has the ID just right there in the builder. But whenever you're anywhere in WordPress, it needs to load a template, and it uses the ID and the URL to figure out which post it's going to get data from. So it's always going to be up there in the URL bar when you're editing.
Yeah. So that's how you find IDs. And I want to take more questions. If you guys have more questions about Zapier, how to use it with Lifter, there's literally so much you can do. And this isn't, if you get really into it, this isn't necessarily something you have to figure out on your own. You could work with a Lifter LMS expert, if you want to throw a link to that in the chat, to build your automation for you, and you come up with the idea of what you want to integrate. It is a little bit technical, but it's designed for users, non-developers, to be able to create automations. And our getting started documentation really walks you through it. But if you start to get a little bit, if it ends up feeling a little too technical for you, you could always outsource that piece to somebody who could who's used to using Zapier and could set that up for you. And I do want to just say that the Lifter LMS Zapier, there's nothing to buy from us. This is a benefit that we're offering all Lifter LMS users. So even if you're using the free core Lifter LMS plugin, you can start using Zapier straight away. And we can look at Zapier pricing here. Let me actually do it in an incognito window. So Zapier, what's cool is they have a free plan. So with 100 tasks per month. So even using the free Lifter LMS plugin and the a free Zapier plan, you could have 100 tasks flowing through your automation for free. So both Lifter LMS and Zapier, you can literally get started using this for free. And I want to encourage you to try it. And before you get into it, you can play around with it, but really think hard about the automation that you want to create and what how will it save you time, make you more money, enable a feature or an experience that you haven't been able to do before. Come up with your strategy first and then go into Zapier and the tools that you're using and see what you can put together. But I'm happy to take more questions as well. If we have any more we want to get into.
Yeah, we have one so far. This is a follow-up to the previous question for cohorts. How about all Zapier's IE emails per week? Does that work well with cohorts? So can you use cohorts from Lifter LMS alongside Zapier, I guess, for the...
Yeah. In this case, cohorts are essentially a new version of the course that has all the same content, and you can then change through the setup wizard. You can change the course time period, the course enrollment period. You can have the previous version automatically hidden from your course catalog, so only the new version that's happening every Thursday is available. And all the automations that are built inside of Lifter LMS and engagements you can set up so that they work with the new cohort. So yeah, I would try that. I still think you don't need Zapier for that idea, and just use cohorts. And we have a whole training and webinar on how to use cohorts, and just try that out. If you want to have like a weekly cohort that just resets every week, there's not a way in Zapier yet to like automate the cohort creation, but in Lifter, it's only a couple clicks and 2 minutes of your time once a week. So sometimes you have to weigh the benefits of trying to do complex automation versus working in the tool you have, just like the previous example from somebody about the Zoom webinar reminder emails.
Awesome. And we don't have any other questions yet, but we do have Kurt joining us in chat.
All right.
Good morning, fellas. Automation opens up a lot of types of options.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kurt, for stopping by. I want to encourage everybody to go check out the Lifter LMS Zapier on Zapier. Check out our launch post about it. Check out the documentation about it. And I look forward to helping you automate your business and connect to the tools that you're already using. If you have certain questions, come to the Lifter LMS pre-sales call. email us at team@lifterlms.com. If you're thinking about getting into Lifter and you're trying to move over, do the Shopify integration or the ClickFunnels integration or ThriveCard integration, just reach out and we can help you think through that. I've also personally found working with Zapier's team, both as an integration partner and for support, they are phenomenal. It's very well run, great organization, and they're there to help as well. So with that, Will, thanks for helping me put on this webinar, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day and check out Lifter LMS and Zapier. Take care.